I figured if he ran the buttons, it'd be kind of interesting how this all turns out.
I'm gonna keep him away from those.
I think we had Susie's grandchild on Thursday night, didn't we?
Yes, we sure did.
Mhm.
At least her voice was on.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Look, Brian brings work home with him. He's got the plant behind him.
Brian, my card counter.
Yeah, Brian, the card counter.
All right, 7 o'clock. Everybody's here. We'll call the meeting to order. Susie, can you call roll, please?
Okay. Councilmember Groves,
Here in Lowell, Michigan.
Councilmember Chambers,
Here, Lowell, Michigan.
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Here, Lowell, Michigan.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Here, Lowell, Michigan.
and Mayor DeVore.
Here, Lowell, Michigan. Motion to approve the consent agenda for tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Support.
Cliff and Leah. Any discussion or changes? Sue?
Councilmember Groves,
Yes.
Mayor DeVore,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
All right, citizen discussion for items not on the agenda. Click the raise your hand button in the top corner or hit *9 on your phone.
I'm not saying anything, Mayor.
Okay, moving on to old business. Mike, any COVID updates for item A?
The only sorry. Not much has really changed since the last time. The only thing was since the last time I was able to find a website through Kent County where I was able to sign the employer up as the city for our employees to get vaccinated. So I completed all that information. Sorry about that. And so I completed that information, but I haven't heard back from them or anything like that. But I know I'm in some list. But they also did state that when we did sign them up, there was, they didn't have a timetable when they were going to respond to us, but we have started that process. So I was able to find that, and I actually just found it just going on one of the websites that I was aware of, and I found it, and I was able to get our, at least put the city in the queue. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
That's about all we have.
Okay, any questions for Mike on COVID? Showboat update.
Yes, in your packet, I did give you an updated spreadsheets as to where we're at with our contracts and what we spent. I know I have to get an update from Liz. I know they have more money to give to us. It's just a matter of us coming together and doing that, but it should be coming pretty soon. Also, as of now, we're still good with Wolverine. We should be able to cover the cost of Wolverine's contract. I do believe I think we're pretty close to having all the funds we need for the restrooms. The bids will be opening bids for those on Wednesday. Hope to have a recommendation at your next council meeting for the restrooms. And that's all I have.
All right.
I have a little bit of information to add that Liz did send me an email today. And it looks like so far we have raised $860,000. There's a little over $40,000 of pledges that are still out there that need to be collected. So that's around 120,000. And that does include the grant that Locable supported to us the other night. So we're doing good. We got that echo back, so somebody's got the phone open.
I believe it is, who's on the bottom down there? Susan, could you mute?
Me? Yeah.
Is that gone now?
Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Yeah. So we're about $40,000 in pledges we still need to collect on. So they're doing pretty good. I think in the next 2 weeks, the committee for the fundraiser will have their last meetings and it'll be turned over to the 501c3 group for any fundraisers going forward after that. So we'll be done.
Very good.
Good.
Very good. Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Any questions for Mike or Jim? Moving right along, social
And no
district.
tax dollars, Mike, just FYI.
Oh yeah, Cliff, how many tax dollars are we using on the showboat?
None, zero.
Okay, good. I forgot last meeting. Social district, Mike.
Yes, we opened the social district last Friday. Week ago Friday, pretty good. So far, it's been a pretty good turnout. I know seems like Saturdays tends to be the busier day. And then, sorry. So the one thing we did do was we reopened Monroe Street. Mainly, I was getting a number of complaints from businesses about Monroe being shut down, and just figured out it really wasn't worth the complaint. So we just moved that warming area to the Riverwalk. So all the warming areas will be on the Riverwalk. But you know, I've had very few complaints other than Monroe, and it's been going pretty good.
Do we get the rest of those trash cans out there?
I did tell Dan to do that today. So I don't know if they did before the end of the day.
Yeah, there was none up at the bow of the boat, Dan. There's none out front of Sneakers in that general area, although there is 2 down by Gilmore's. We just need to have a lot more down there because people were looking around. And I'm afraid they're just gonna throw it somewhere.
Okay, we'll put some more out.
All right, any other questions on the social district?
Yeah, I got one for Mike. So I know we have an officer that the DDA's paying for to help come up and
Yes.
around. So the fire department's been there quite a bit, manning the fires.
Correct.
Now, is that coming out of Shannon's budget?
Nope, DDA is paying for that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Also, I've heard a couple of people mention that those fires are too high. If you're being used as warming centers, like you're only warming from the middle of your chest up. Is there a way they can be lowered?
I don't think so.
We can look into that. I don't know offhand that it can, but we'll look
Yeah,
at.
I haven't used them, but I've heard that.
Well, it just seems to me, Dan, the design that was built, we could run rebar or threaded rod, just cut it longer, make spacers. And you could lower that whole thing down a good 8 inches, and I think that would solve a lot of problems.
We'll take a look at it.
Okay,
All right. Any other social district news?
Nope.
MERS update, Mike.
Yeah, I have been working on this since last council meeting. I've been in touch with MERS. If you recall, I've talked to you about extending the 30-year period for the unfunded liability. I have talked to Mike Overly from MERS about that. We also started having a discussion about the possibility of pension bonding. One thing he did tell me is that if you do a pension bond, normally what they do when they extend out, they usually only extend out maybe 5 years at the most. However, he did say that you do have a better chance of resetting your 30 years on your unfunded liability if you actually indeed bond for it. So what they're doing next is they're running some ballpark figures for us as to what that would look like. From there, once we get that, I'll review it, probably bring it to you, just kind of let you know what it would entail. And from there, we would if we were still interested in doing that, then we would have to have an actuarial review done. That is a couple $1,000s, I believe, to have MERS do that report. This ballpark projection, it's something they do at no cost. It'll be 6 to 8 weeks, but it's not a true actuarial. Report. So I am working on it, and we're still working on it. So.
All right, any questions for Mike on MERS? Lowell Township MOU.
Yes. Yeah. So at the January 19th City Council meeting, we discussed a proposal from PFM financial advisors to conduct evaluation of the water and wastewater treatment facilities. The proposal was for the city to contract with PFM to complete such tasks. The total project cost was not to exceed $40,000. If you recall, this proposal was presented to council in 2019, whereby the developer Sid Jansma, Lowell Township, and the city of Lowell would each pay a third of the costs. The city council had no issues with the valuation being completed as long as the city didn't pay for it. In our recent facilitation, it was mentioned whether the valuation could be conducted again. I reminded them of the city council concerns. It was then asked if the city would pay for their share of the cost if we came to some sort of an arrangement regarding a future agreement. I informed them I did not think it was an unreasonable request, and I presented it to council as I did. After presenting this to the council, I was directed to have the city attorney work with Lowell Township's attorney to develop a cost sharing agreement. And I have a copy of that agreement attached, and I'm going to turn it over to Jessica because she just wants to walk you through the agreement real quick.
Sure.
Yep, so thank you. Okay, so the cost sharing agreement in your packet still has some blanks that need to be filled in. And so if you do approve this tonight, I would ask that you make a motion to approve it subject to allowing the city attorney to fill in some of these details. For example, the number of acres and so forth, the type of entity PFM wants to be called from a corporate standpoint. So minor changes. This agreement only kicks in if and when the parties are able to reach a mutually satisfying agreement with regard to extending services to the township. So your 1/3 of the cost of this valuation only becomes an obligation should an agreement be reached in the future. And I think that's how Mike described it to you in the past. That being said, I did want to add a not to exceed amount in here just to be safe. The proposal from PFM was $40,000, as Mike explained, but I wanted to add a not to exceed amount because there's also a reimbursable cost provision in the proposal from PFM. And so because that number is unnamed, to be safe, I wanted to add some language that said that your portion would be 1/3 or approximately $13,000 plus the reimbursable expenses, but in an amount not to exceed $15,000 total. So, you know, if their reimbursable expenses come in way over that, they would have to come back to you for additional approval. So this just would allow the process to get started. And again, only if you're able to reach an agreement with the township are you responsible to reimburse the developer for your third. Any questions?
No, anybody have any questions for Jessica?
Nope, I'm good.
Motion to approve the cost sharing agreement.
I move we approve the cost sharing agreement and allow the city attorney to fill in the blanks aforementioned.
I'll support.
Cliff and Marty, any other discussion? Sue?
Mayor DeVore,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
and Councilmember Groves.
Yes.
All right, moving on to new business, LCTV endowment fund recommendations. Mike,
I don't see Dennis Kent on the meeting. Jim, you were there. Can you discuss it?
Yes, I was. It was a really good meeting. We a lot of thought went into it. This team always does a great job of determining if people qualify for the funding or they don't. There were two organizations that did not qualify for any grant. So with that in mind, the team did a really good job of putting everything together and trying to come up with a little bit of funding for everybody. And if you look at the agreements, you can see that City of Lowell always gets $4,000 right off the top. The Showboat got 50. The Kent County Youth Fair was $7,488.60. The Lowell Area Art Council for some technology upgrades got $2,200. The Lowell's Open Table got $5,790.50. The Barn for Learning Indoor Riding Arena, they got $17,000. And Virgins Township for the continuing remodel of their township hall got $22,000, which came to $108,479.10. If there are no questions, look for a motion to carry this. Well, that's actually Mike's job, not mine.
You already did it. Motion to approve the LCTV grant recommendation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support. How about that, Jim?
There you go.
Any other discussion or questions for Jim? Sue?
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Groves,
Yes.
and Mayor DeVore.
Yes. Board and commission reports, Marty.
Mine are next week.
Jim?
Well, you saw the results of the LCTV fund. We'll be meeting again on December 2nd of this year. And then I believe I have low light power next Thursday.
All right. Cliff?
The historical district, we asked for 100,000 from the community fund. They gave us 60,000, somewhat disappointed. And the only reason I say that is because the historic district typically grants 25 to 33% of costs. So that if the people gave us 100,000, it would translate into $250,000 or 350,000 worth of work being done in Lowell. But Brent Slagle is moving ahead on the Serenity building, and can't remember, I think 20 to 25,000 was pledged to him to help that move forward. And he's got a great track record with the historical district, with the big boiler and the Superior lofts. So it was kind of a no-brainer.
Thank you. Leah?
I don't have anything for you. Next week are my meetings.
Mine are next week too. City managers report, Mike.
Couple items. First one, I was notified about a week and a half ago from Kent County Road Commission that they will be completing repaving Alden Nash from Main Street to Foreman. They will be doing that sometime this spring and summer. So I was pleased that I did ask for that. I've asked for the last 2 years on that, and I'm glad that project will be moving forward. Also, at our March 15th meeting, we'll have somebody from the redistricting commission come talk to you about the changes with the redistricting that was approved by the voters in 2018. We did also in the newsletter, we did put information out as requested by the Planning Commission pertaining to marijuana. So that was in the newsletter this month. And that's all I have.
All right. All right, appointments. I got an email in my little email thing here for the DDA. Martha Davis, who owns Tap House Bow downtown and is also a radio celebrity like Marty and myself, would like to join the DDA. So, any objections to Martha being on the DDA? I think she'll be a
No.
fantastic addition. So Martha, you're on the DDA and you didn't even have to answer the normal torture question.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Where
you.
were you on January 4th, 2018?
If it was a Friday, she was on the radio. Martha's
Yeah,
on the radio on Friday.
I was.
So, all right. Well, thanks, Martha.
Yep.
Susie, I'll send you that application too for the DDA. And that's all I have for appointments. Council comments, Marty Chambers.
Just like to thank all the hard work DPW had to do to open Monroe back up and move all that stuff and all the work that goes on with that. It's a neat learning curve that we're all going through with that new district. I'd like to thank the fire department for having their guys down there, and the police department for patrolling it and making it a safe environment. So kudos to all. That's it.
All right, Jim.
It was nice to see the young female police officer get a hat. Even though she got it herself, the first night was really cold down in the first Friday. And then last weekend it was much better. But no, my wife and I both went down there Friday nights. We enjoyed it. The crowd seemed to be getting a little bit bigger. I don't know what it's like Saturday or during the daytime driving through. But other than that, thank everybody that's involved, like Marty said, to take care of that and get something new started in the city. It's great. So that's all I got.
All right, Cliff.
Saturdays, from my perspective in the store for the social district, are looking good. The first Saturday, we had a couple people from Grand Rapids that came out just to see what it was all about. And they were wandering around and going in the shops. And so I think it's doing well.
All right, Leah.
I too was just going to extend a thanks to everybody who's put in work for the social district. I didn't go down there, but I was downtown a little bit this weekend and it looks like it was going really well. I think it's refreshing to see citizens communicating and conversing with the fire department and police officers. I think it creates connection.
Good too.
So,
All right, well, I want to thank WION. They had Marty and Mike and I down this afternoon, or this morning rather, and we talked about all the good things going on in Lowell, and sounds like it's going to be a little bit more regular thing for Marty and I to pop down there and brag about all the cool stuff we got going on here. It's
Somebody
nice to
didn't you did a commercial for us too?
I did a commercial. Yeah, I did. And only took, I don't know, like 142 takes, but yeah.
It took you that long to drink that beer.
Well, I've been told I got a face for radio, so it was a natural progression for me to jump over there. No, I have a lot of fun hanging out with those guys, and they got a neat little setup, and they do a lot of advertising for Lowell, bragging about Lowell, informing about Lowell. So we're lucky to have both our little radio stations. So it was nice to go hang out at one for a little while. So, and Marty set that all up. So thanks for that, Marty. And with that, Jim.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:23.
second.
Jim and Leah, motion in a second. All those in favor? Oh no, we can't do that anymore. Sue.
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Groves,
Yes.
Mayor DeVore,
Yes.
and Councilmember Salzweedl.
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye.